Mustafar, a volcanic planet on the outer rim that was featured in episode 3 of Star Wars, famous for the final battle of Obi-Wan and Anakin, of which I have a cameo in this build. But that story is stuff of legend because this is in the future. This is episode 8 of Mustafar, Rise of the Sith. The dark side clouds everything. And you can take a look. There's a lot of stuff going on here. The Sith are making Vader clones. And they have, if I may say, hidden deep within the mountain, a cavern where the physical clone bodies of Vader are then formed. Using Dark Force red crystals and Darth Vader's DNA and heat from the lava, an ooze is formed. And it is sent down through the mountain, and the physical clone body of Vader then created. I don't know how effective they're going to be because so far they've only had 2 that have come out correct. There's been a lot of defective ones, and they're busy around the build doing the grunt work.
Some experimentation still.
Yeah, a little bit. And if one of the defective clones goes bad, then we have a recalibration chamber over there hidden by the elevator that it's, well, I guess essentially in layman's terms, shock treatment. And we have, the Sith have recruited a lot of Imperial stormtroopers that are unemployed, shadow troopers, and even some final order Sith troopers. They're all being retrained. Hopefully one day their army will rise and they will crush the New Republic. But I don't really believe that's going to happen.
So we've established what happens in the mountain over here. Talk about the tall building that we have on this side.
Okay, well, that's I call that affectionately Sith Towers. That is a tower that is the Mustafar Sith facility. On the bottom floor down there where you see stormtroopers walking up inside, that is a registration and welcome reception area built into the mountain. One floor up from that is their dormitory where they dine and sleep in really rough bunk beds. The floor up above that is TIE Fighter Simulator, Sith TIE Fighter Simulator training area, and there's a dozen simulators in there with aspiring TIE Fighter pilots trying to learn how to fly. When they do, the next floor up is the hangar bay, and the top floor is the landing and the cannon battery bay to protect the facility. It's very well ray shielded. You may look at that dome device there, and that's ray shielding. So if perhaps a surprise attack does happen, then if they don't have the proton bombs, no damage done. I think, though, somewhere in the future, as in the legend, the New Republic has salvaged some X-Wing starfighters, and maybe they're loaded with proton bombs and will soon attack and destroy the power of the Sith.
Well, that's not going to end well for these guys.
Not at all. Not at all. But I don't have to worry because even though I'm a retired Sith TIE fighter pilot, 3 times rewarded, actually, I'm a spy. So maybe I won't get blown up.
Deep cover.
Yes.
Well, that is a fantastic story we have going here. So certainly the thing that catches your eye when you first walk up to this build is just the size of it as well. So do you know how many pieces are here, or the overall size?
It says right there on the screen it consists of 110,723 pieces and counting. But let's be fair here. Did I really count those things? So that's my story on that part of how many pieces it is. I believe that, and you guys well know that every Lego set ever made has on the outside of the box how many pieces it is. So the definitive go-to question is, how many pieces is it? And there, I have documentation, 110,723 pieces and counting. Let me throw another one in there, and then I'll have to change my video.
There we go. No, I like it. I'm sure it was very difficult to keep track. So do you know how tall the whole thing is here?
I think at its tallest point right there, it might be a little over 5 feet. I do know that the mountain sections are a little over 22 inches high, the mountain base that goes around there, because I put them in boxes that are 16 by 16 by 24 so they'd have some headroom, but I mostly guesstimate it. There's actually a club table there that is built 30 inches wide by 60 inches long, and the 48 by 48 stud base plate sections fit on it perfectly. I built a mills up on the base platform, and from there I began to rise, Sith, rise.
So that's kind of, talk a little bit more about that structure then underneath there if you can, and kind of everything that holds this massive build together.
Well, it's built solid. Would you like to maybe take a cross-section look at one of the pieces?
That would be awesome.
Let's do that. Let's see if I've got any force strength left. This is 5 sections, so let me take this one and lean it forward. Oh, that one's not going to happen. Let's go over on the back side and do that. You don't mind. I forgot they're pinned together with Technic. So come here, Band-Aid. Now we'll try this one, and this is the lightest section. It's the centerpiece. And as it slides out, you can see that there's a table underneath there. I'll pick this thing up, and of course it's plated off for strength every once in a while, and I use dark gray plates because those black 16 by 16. And look, are there bright colors on the back of that? Oh my.
There's a couple bright colors.
Fill bricks. Nobody can see those. I'm supposed to be able to use that. So,
but this is great. So you can see that table you were talking about, and then you just push these up against it.
That's it. And actually, I'm supposed to have Technic pins to put in there like I did on the front, but I failed to put the Technic pieces on. Well, I put them on the right side, but then when I started building it, I didn't turn the plate correctly, and then I already had it built when I discovered, oops. It will get rebuilt in some regard in the future. This is Mustafar Episode 8. It began in February of 2020 as Mustafar Episode 1. As each build gets added onto it, it becomes a different episode, and I always try to change the little story that goes along with it. So that's it.
I love this current iteration of it. It's certainly a fantastic build here. So if you can, talk a little bit more about some of the black pieces that you used to achieve all of this incredible rock work. Did you have those on hand when the build began, or did you have to try to source those from different places online?
I sourced them from a lot of different places, and that is the one thing that slowed down the build more than anything. It's why it's taken so long, is waiting on pieces to arrive, for one thing. You know, when you buy stuff from LEGO, it happens slow. And then I had to look in my back pocket and see if I found any extra money to buy LEGO pieces with. And that's the vicious thing that happens to do that. There's probably 6 or 7 different black, what I call roof slope components that are used on this. It's got Burt, Big Ugly Rock piece. The actual LEGO name is Mountain Bottom, 10 by 4 by 6, and that's each level. And this comes 9 levels high. And to do that, I put the mountain bottom piece in the place where I want it to be. Then I back support it with bricks, 2 by 6 bricks. They fit right in the notch real good. Then I start putting LEGO bricks, 2 by 4 LEGO bricks in place. And I do a layer of, Duplo bricks, I'm sorry. I put a layer of Duplo, a layer of bricks, a layer of Duplo, and so on until one level up is finished, and then I add on the mountain texture. And I have to constantly think about, okay, what's going to be going on up at the top, so because you build it from the bottom up. And, you know, if I'm going to have a lava flow, I've got to think about what I'm going to do up at a certain area. And it's fun doing that. I mean, every one of them I wanted to be uniquely different, and they are that. And there's no telling where I'm going to go, but I'm sticking with Mustafar for now.
Now, the lava adds so much, color to the build, which is fantastic. So talk about how you incorporated that into the black kind of mountain rock work here.
Well, rather than use the black slopes, I would begin to use trans orange in there. Different elements with that. Some of them I use that 1 by 2 by 6 long trans orange piece. Other times I would use 1 by 2 trans orange plates. And of course, as you can see, a 1 by 2 trans orange slope and lots of trans orange cheese slopes. It just depends on, kind of like building a puzzle. okay, which piece goes here? And I would determine which piece fit best and put it there. And then as I got along the way, if something wasn't jiving up above, it meant I had to destroy it and some of the pieces and put them back in place again. But that's part of the fun. There's no plans. There was nothing other than a concepted idea, and let me start building this and see where it goes. And that's what I did with this one.
That's great to have fun with it. And if I'm not mistaken, we can actually see inside here to see a little bit more of that story you were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah, so I'll go ahead and point to this. This area of Mustafar is rich with dark force red crystals, and the Sith have harvested them, and they put them in a chamber beside Darth Vader's life force DNA. And of course, as the system starts, the thermal heat from the lava flow beneath that liquefies it. It's pumped down through these pipes into a secret cavern at the base of the mountain where the then physical Vader clone body is formed. And if I use my force power strong enough, let's see, I've still got some left. I can remove the side of the mountain, and then you can see what's going on inside there a little bit. Sadly to say, it was a remote section of Mustafar, and they had to blow out what they could of the mountain, and they only ended up having enough room for 3 Vader clone chambers, so they can make them 3 at a time. So far, only 2 have come out correctly, and they're busy with lightsaber practice. I think maybe the instructor droids and the practice droids know more than they do, but the Sith are a lofty group. They don't realize that the dark side is not as powerful as the light side. So they run with it and they go with it and they hurry up, and then they fail. But they don't learn from their failure, so they try again and then they fail again, and that's what's going on here.
I love that whole story that's involved. So I know you mentioned, I think, the Anakin fight that's down there at the very bottom. Any other kind of Easter eggs or scenes around the edges?
No, not really. I did that one there because the first time I built Mustafar, and I was showing it to the kids and told them that Mustafar is a volcanic planet featured in episode 3, then the little guys said to me, well, where are Anakin and Obi-Wan having their final battle? So I had to put that in there because, I don't want to get busted by a 6-year-old that many times.
That's right. Nobody wants that. So another fascinating thing with these builds is always what it's like to bring them to a show and set them up. So what was that process like for you?
It's strenuous. It was, you know what, it's a labor of love. I drove up here from Knoxville, Tennessee, and this fills up my entire van. And so I've got to unload all the boxes and get them over here where the setup area is. Then I have to unload the table. Then I have to unload the 2 platforms, set the 2 platforms up first, set the table in place, and then start to unbox each of the 22 sections and put them in place. I put the top sections on first because the side sections slide in and they lock that in place. Some of the mountainside sections are actually pinned together by Technic pins. Others are not because, I really don't have to if I want to be lazy. But I'll speak about the cavern where the physical clone body is informed. When I first built it, as you see this one side with the bars on the window, they were on both sides. And I looked at that and said, that doesn't look like mountain. So I had to change up everything, and there's a gazillion inverted 2x2 black roof slopes under there making the archway for the cavern. And then it's plated off, and I apologize that I don't think I want to do this on film, but it is made modular, where if I put my hand under there, I can lift that entire mountain section up for a better overhead view of what's in there. But you don't mind if I'm lazy and skip.
No, that's fine. It's been a long day here, so that's fine. Another really cool element of this build is the lighting you had on it. So they had like a World of Lights event here last night at BrickFair, and this build looked fantastic. Talk about the lighting setup you had here.
Well, the lighting setup I had was simply 4 battery-operated professional stage LED lights, and I can make them a myriad of colors, but last night I used orange. It's good, and when they turned the lights out a little bit earlier, I chose the magenta color, and so it gave a really iridescent neon-like trans to the trans orange and a bluish, really eerie cast over the Mustafar mountainside. So one was Mustafar and the other I call Mustafar at night.
That works. Well, thank you so much for bringing this build out to the show, and thank you for giving us the whole tour of the whole story here. Can't wait to see what you have in the future.
Thank you so much for that. I will give you a little bit of a hint. Mustafar is going to be an ongoing build. However, another labor of love is me putting together the convex transport heist aftermath from the Solo movie. So it'll be tabletop only, and you will see the train going around the mountain, and then the train has exploded and it's crashed down at the bottom. I will have an Easter egg on the other side of the mountain with the campfire scene where Rio said, "Tell us about your girl, Han. Has she got sharp teeth?" And that little campfire scene that lasted about a minute in the movie will be used there right next to an avalanche from where the explosion happened, and it blew the avalanche down. And then the other end of the coin is I'm just thinking out loud about what I'm going to do. Actually, when I start building and building more and getting down to the story details of it, it's Lego. You can change it any way you want to. That's what I love about it.
That's what's so beautiful about it. I love that approach, so thank you.
You're most welcome.